Dye her pink, you know.
He's very curious. I liked him a lot. I had dinner with him.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Terrific.
That's the guy. Yeah, that's the same guy. Yeah.
We can go this.
Were you all set?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi Alex, I know you're watching. Shabbat Shalom to you. Everybody, one more Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We wish you speedy recovery and the best of health. Yes, tonight I am here on my own, but we have a lot of special guests. We have our guest speaker, Ronnie Dubrowen, here, and we have a guest artist, Jay Dreff, here to commemorate International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So that will come later in our program when we get closer to the Mourner's Kaddish. So let's start off with Shalom Aleichem on page 142. Everyone together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch I'd like to invite a Bruce chorus for our welcome tonight. A man who is never at a loss for words.
I'm sorry, I'm very shy. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Wow, look, I didn't see how many people filled in. What a nice crowd tonight. Very, very nice on on a cold wintry night. We're inside. Thank you to Joanne for remembering to pay the heating bill this month. We're in good shape as far as that goes. No rabbi? No problem. No problem. We got Ronnie tonight. We got Jay tonight. We've got the cantor and Ken. Lovely service planned.
Ken.
Yeah, you forgot Ken. What is he, chopped liver?
He's kind of become a regular.
He's a regular.
He's a regular.
Regular?
A regular.
So,
Irregular.
by the way, happy anniversary not. It was 32, as we mourn the Bills' loss on this past Sunday, 32 years ago today, wide right. 32 years ago, we know that if he had made that kick, our lives would be completely different, totally. And then 46 years ago tomorrow was the blizzard of 77, and of course we just had our Christmas blizzard. So, two big anniversaries, a disaster of biblical proportion, and a snowstorm. What can you do? Anyway, lovely service planned for tonight. I'll be back with the announcements. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom. Who'd like to light the candles? Just light them. I won't even put you on the spot. You want to come up? Okay. Do you want to chant it?
Sure.
Okay, let's all turn to page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
You want to stay up for the Kiddush? Page 123. You want to chant it?
Sure. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei ruach ha'gafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon, hifilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah, lemikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tzilat Mitzrayim, ki aleinu karata, ve'otanu kidashta. A little different. La'avodatecha, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uratzon, nivratanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
Something in there for you?
Thank you.
Thank you. Page 138 for Lecha Dodi. And when we get to the second verse, we will all rise and face the entranceway here. And if you like, you can bow to the Shabbat Queen, the Shabbat Bride, who is welcoming us this evening.
Come
And we will remain standing if you are comfortable. Let's do a reading in the middle of page 145. Everyone together. Teach me, O God, a blessing of prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Bless my day be today as the one before, bless routine set my ways. We remain standing for the Baruch Hu. Site of the death of singer-songwriter Debbie Friedman. Probably one of the most famous singer-songwriters in the Jewish community. And it's actually this week, and I thought that I would fill in some of our service with a few of her pieces. And I know right now we will do her Ahavat Olam, which is so beloved by our community. And it is on page 150. to the Shema on page 152 and 153. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shekero, Malchuto, Please be seated. Join me with the Ve'ahavta on page 154. On page 159. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Page 158, Debbie Friedman's Mi Chamocha. 61, a reading for our Hashkivenu prayer. The one on the second half of the page. Give us a place. Okay, everyone together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are our true protection and safety, and in your presence our acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162 for Yismechu. Yismechu ve'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. Yismechu ve'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. Mekadoshei Shemim Shabbat, kulam yismechu v'yitzanku mitov v'chashavat, Shabbat v'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. V'hashvi ratzita bo v'kiddashta Shabbat, v'emdot yamim oto karata Shabbat, Shabbat. Yismechu shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh v'reishis Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh v'reishis v'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei orei Shabbat. We rise now on page 164 through 180. You can look at the book if you want and read any of the passages in those pages, or you can just speak the prayers of your heart for a silent meditation. I know when you were finished when you see that you've seated. Thanks. Page 180, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bin Ramah, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. So we look now into our hearts for our healing prayer. Tonight we will do the healing prayer that's in our leaflet. So I hope, I don't know if everybody got a leaflet. I have an extra one in case somebody needs it. Good enough to go around? Great, great, great. I'll read from this list and then we'll have an opportunity where you can say the name of someone who's in your thoughts. Alan Bernstein, Marsha Buji, Michelle Boulan, Richard Bezib-Zak, Paula Charvella, Gary Philippone, Sue Frank, Ida Frost, Ellen Goldstein, Esther Green, Karen Greenfield, Gary Greenfield, Carolyn Grosser, Charlotte Krebs, Sharon Krebs, Ruth Lansing, Miles Levy, Gail Lewis, Jill Shire Monahan, Chip Mongione, Cheryl Rossi, Brandon Ryan, Renee Schwartz, Mimi Shapiro, Gertrude Sloan, Alan Strauss, Mike Wheeler, Gasha Bat Masha, Hanan Ezra Ben Shuel, and Reuven Ben Morris. And if there was someone's name that's still on this list that you know has recovered enough to be off of the list, just let us know. We'll take them off the list. I'll look around the room. Anyone, yes, thank you.
Robert Klipstein.
Sue Levine, Charlotte Harvey, Louise Levine, and Rabbi Ellen.
And you want to say that name?
Robin Weinstein.
Paul Cheney, Jerry Cheney.
Wish them healing.
Lisa Steinfeld.
This is a prayer that's done in call and response. You just repeat after me in song. It's not hard. Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing like to invite up our guest speaker, Ronnie DuBrown, tonight, who has a Devar Torah to deliver, and a little bit of an introduction to her. She's only been with the community for 4 months, and she has made a tremendous impact already. I take mahjong lessons from her on Friday mornings. I get to spend some quality time once a week with her, too.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So again, I'm Ronnie DeBrowen, and some of you may know that I am a mohelet, a person who has learned both the physical act of completing a circumcision and studied the background and implications through Torah, text, and responsa. In other words, I'm a female moil. I won't talk to you tonight about the physical act, especially after dinner. I have no desire to make anyone queasy or uncomfortable, at least about this procedure. Instead, I want to contemplate with you the transformation that may occur symbolically as a result of this act. You may know that a name for bris, the Yiddish and common name that we use all the time, is Brit Milah, the Hebrew name. It means the covenant of circumcision. A covenant is an agreement or contract requiring two parties agreeing to something mutually understood. If you ever saw me in action as a mohelet, you would always hear me say that everyone who attends my brises, the brit, is part of this covenant by being there, by showing up for the new parents and their baby. This week's Torah portion, Bo, involves both circumcision and another very important brit made between the Eternal and the Jewish people. It starts with Moses being told in the first verse of Bo, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Bo el Paro, ki ani hikbati et libo vaet, which says, Then Adonai said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his couriers, in order that I may display these my signs. Now, perhaps everybody here knows how that turned out. We read tonight or over this week of the last 3 plagues and the orchestration of the Eternal to help us achieve our freedom from slavery. The drama is reaching its climax. After locusts and darkness, and finally, the slaying of the firstborn males among all Egyptians of all classes and situations, including their animals, Adonai gives us very detailed instructions on what to do to achieve our freedom. What we must do becomes the essence of the second brit I referenced. Now, it has 4 possible names. Hag HaMatzot, the Festival of Matzahs. Zman Cherotenu, the time of our freedom. Hag LaAviv, the Spring Festival, or Hag LaPesach, the Festival of Passover. We are instructed to sacrifice and roast unblemished young animals, applying blood from these sacrifices to the doorposts and lintel of the houses where the Israelites and their slaves and bondsmen live. We eat our feast that night in its entirety and while wearing traveling clothes. And, okay, here's the second brit. This day, according to Bo, shall be to you one of remembrance. You shall celebrate it as a festival to Adonai through the ages. You shall celebrate it as an institution for all time. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the very first day you shall remove leaven from your houses, for whoever eats leavened bread from the first day to the 7th, that person shall be cut off from Israel. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for on this very day I brought your ranks out of the land of Egypt. You shall observe this day throughout the ages as an institution for all time. Now, I became a Mohelet in the late 1990s. I have participated in many, many brisses. I have been fascinated through my years since my credentialing that there are lots of people who call upon me who have little regular relationship with Judaism beyond a box they check on a demographic questionnaire. Maybe they live in an environment like Long Island or New York City, where the percentage of Jews is high, currently just above 9% in the New York metro area. Lots of people are what I refer to as bagels and lox Jews. I was one for about the first third of my life. The only Jewish thing I did involved food. Not high holy days, not temple attendance or Jewish education, food. Which brings me to Chag HaMatzot, the festival of matzahs. Growing up in our family, over 35 of us would gather on the first night of Passover. We would eat matzah ball soup. We would eat brisket. We would follow a fascinating story in a book published by a coffee company, Maxwell House. We would eat matzah. We did a very abbreviated version of what I now understand to be the Passover story told in the Haggadah. Truth, I honestly did not know until I became an adult and began to attend synagogue and learn about Judaism that there was even a second part to a Seder. But my point is, we had a Seder. Having a Seder is the second Jewish thing on some level that many, many Jews do, even those very loosely connected to their Judaism. In April 2016, in USA Today, an article appeared which discussed just this, that 70% of even very loosely identified Jews celebrate some form of Seder. That means we listened. Remember that in Lech Lecha, in Genesis 17, God tells Abraham to keep the covenant of circumcision. He and his descendants throughout the generations, a sign of the covenant between God and Abraham. In Parashat Bo, in this week's Parashat, we're told that we shall celebrate Passover throughout the ages as an institution for all time. The covenant of Brit Milah is to remind both the Eternal and us, our people, that we would be made a multitude with Abraham as Avinu, our father. In Bo, following the Eternal's very specific instructions, that we are being led to freedom, Zman Cherutenu, and we have been told to acknowledge and cherish and show gratitude for this people-saving event. And in each case, those who live with us, if circumcised, become a part of the people. It says it right there. Exodus 12, 48 and 49, which we would read this week, says, if a male stranger who dwells with you would offer the Passover to Adonai, all his males must be circumcised. Then he shall be admitted to offer it. He shall then be as a citizen of the country, but no uncircumcised man may eat of it. So the two most important rituals experienced by most Jews together in Bo become very important entrees into our peoplehood. Amazing. Circumcision does not make a male a Jew. At birth, we have credentials which do. Even among the most traditionally observant, having a Seder does not make someone a Jew. But for the ritual to be elevated to the level of mitzvah, commandment, one must be part of the Jewish people, as in Bo, represented by Brit Milah. What each of these rituals does do is help cement our peoplehood, our belonging to each other. It creates common understanding, common ground, common expectations. Every person here tonight in this space understands this. We gather with familiar faces, singing beautiful and familiar songs, strengthening bonds with each other. It is exactly that energy which motivated John and me to find a synagogue within weeks of moving here. And this particular place, with its welcoming clergy and congregation, with its special love and caring for each other, was the motivation for us to join Congregation Shir Shalom with such alacrity. I want to leave you tonight with the words of one of my favorite Musar teachers, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, who lived in the mid-1500s. He says, "So it is with regards to one's neighbors. All Israel are related one to the other, for their souls are united, and in each soul there is a portion of all the others. This is the reason why a multitude carrying out the divine commands cannot be compared with the few who do so, for the multitude possesses combined strength. Think of that strength when you gather in a few short months at your Seder table, and each Shabbat when we come together to celebrate. For me, it is that coming together for mutual purpose and mutual understanding that is transformative. And I'd love to know if you agree. Shabbat Shalom."
Shabbat Shalom. Very much. I'm sure it's going to be really attacking you at the table, at the Oneg table tonight, to thank you and to discuss some of the issues. And yeah, so much there. Thank you so much. It looks like we can go to page 586 in our Sidurim for the Aleinu. And when you've gotten there, please rise. Page 591. Please be seated. We're going to stand very shortly, but you might as well sit down just a little bit. Well, I'm thinking that before we go into our yort sites for tonight, I think we'll go into our special presentation of the observance of International Holocaust Remembrance. What I did find, I honestly did not know too much about this observance, because in the springtime we have, within the Jewish community, we have our own day specifically for the observance of the Holocaust, which is called Yom HaShoah, which is a very big deal. We get together as a whole community, hundreds and hundreds of us, yearly, and there's presentations and music and speeches, and all the politicians come out, and it's a really auspicious time. And so we never really looked into this International Holocaust Remembrance Day that much, because we had our own day for it. But this is really, I read a little bit about it, and we're aware of its origin. And the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, or the International Day in Memory of the Victims of the Holocaust, is an international memorial day on the 27th of January that commemorates the victims of the Holocaust, which resulted in the murder of 1/3 of the Jewish people, along with countless members of other minorities, between 1933 and 1945 by Nazi Germany, an attempt to implement their final solution to the Jewish question. The 27th of January was chosen to commemorate the date when the Auschwitz concentration camp was liberated by the Red Army in 1945. The day remembers the killing of 6 million Jews, 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population. Now, before I go on, I just came back from a trip from Europe, and we visited cities and towns, and we'd ask, well, are there any Jews here? And they would say, well, maybe 100, but there was 65,000 killed in the Holocaust. We went to another town in Germany. 64,000 Jews were killed in that short period of time. And no matter where we went to not Amsterdam, Budapest, and on, wherever we went, they had these types of statistics that were just, you couldn't fathom them. There was no way to take it in and understand it other than to just store it in some place temporarily till you have time to pull it all together and try to figure out, like, what the heck happened. There's just no way. There's no way to embrace it, to understand it, to process it. And millions others by the Nazi regime and its collaborators. It was designated by the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 60/7 on the 1st of November in 2005. The resolution came after a special session was held early that year on the 24th of January to mark the 60th anniversary of the liberation of the Nazi concentration camp and the end of the Holocaust. Many countries have instituted their own Holocaust Memorial Days. Many, such as the UK's Holocaust Memorial Day, also falls on January 27th, while others, such as Israel's Yom HaShoah, are observed at other times of the year. Ken, would you like to say anything about your piece that you wrote in honor and in commemoration? Sure.
Several years ago, I was asked to do a score for a video that Rich Newberg was producing. You might remember Rich Newberg from Channel 4. It was called The Birkenau Boys, and it was about a group of men who were young children at Auschwitz-Birkenau. And they would get together. was every year, every 5 years, and revisit. They'd go back there together, and they remembered playing together because they were young children. They didn't know any better. But he asked me to write this score, and the piece that you're about to hear tonight was written first as an instrumental, and Rich fell in love with it immediately. He used it. We won some Emmy award or something like that. I don't know what we won. But regardless, some years later, I realized it needed lyric, because as an instrumental piece, while it worked well with the video, it didn't say what needed to be said. On the other hand, I didn't know what needed to be said. So I asked myself the ridiculous question: what would all of those people want from us? What would they say to do about this amazing, unspeakable atrocity? And the answer came to me in a word, and that's what the song is about. I would like to introduce to you a young lad that I've been working with. I had the pleasure to work with. He has been touring with Sarah Brightman over the past couple of years all around the world. They've been to the Orient, they've been all over the place, they've been to Europe. And he's that good. I know. But Jay's a great guy. He's a great singer. He's not going to tell you stuff about himself. He's a Juilliard grad. He's attempting to have a career being a vocalist. And when he agreed to sing my song, it was an amazing event for me, okay? Because it's awfully special for a songwriter when your song comes to life, but especially with a person like this. So anyhow, Jay, come on up here.
Sure. Is that okay over there?
Yeah, how about right here?
Okay.
Jay, do you want to use this one here?
Yeah, I can go.
I'm done with it.
I'll go closer to the piano. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it. Yeah, that's fine.
Adjust some of the levels.
Thanks for that lovely introduction, Ken. It was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
The sun screams, the wind howls, they call through time, remember our winter will not know surrender. As long as we remember, compassion, remember with compassion.
to them call through all the hate and lies, to give meaning to soothe their death. When hatred tries to douse the ember, it can't if we remember. The sun screams, the wind howls, they call through time, remember. Our winter will not know surrender, as long as
Thank you. Thanks, Ken.
Let's turn to page 598. We thank you, Jay, and we thank you, Ken. Thank you so much. Your artistry fills us. It says what words, our common words can't say. The poetry, the music, and the art. So thank you. So this week we are observing Shiva for Myrna Jerzinski, Sylvia Wishnoff, and Mitchell Klein. We are observing Shloshim, a 30-day mourning period for Teresa Barnack, Dr. Michael Bloom, Doreen Brockman Gold, Simon Marcus, and Sten Theander, and Lita Zingaro. We are observing Yortzeit this evening for Sherry Beth Abelson, Edwin Ackerhall, Robert L. Altman, Edward Ballin, Dr. Alexander Bloch, Paul A. Bongiorno, Eva Bronstein, Bella Book, Nello Capone, Samuel B. Cohen, Max G. Covitt, Evelyn Cowan, Betty Davigner, Betty Ellis, Isabella Farewell, Norman Fertig, Frederick Fink, Fanny Waldinger Fry, Betty Frieden, Sylvia Gaynor, Edward Gerstel, Joseph Goldman, Thomas Gordon, Greta I. Kaplan, Melvin Kaplan, Nancy Kreef, Sanford C. Kulik, Ruth Kushner Cohen, Sarah Longberg, Pearl Martin, Eli W. Mitnick, Bella Morris, Irene O. Pessar, Elizabeth Przaznik, Leah Reich, Diane Schlanger, Ruth Israel Schuler, Leah N. Schweitzer, Hannah Seitz, Gershon Schick, Nathan J. Shine, Maribel C. Zoltz, Charlotte Vogel, Ruth Weiss, and Isidore Ziller. If you have a name tonight that you would like to mention that's not on this list, I'll come around. Anyone here?
Andrew, let's think of the victims of the synagogue shooting in Jerusalem today.
I didn't hear it.
6 people. Is that 7? I saw 5. Either way.
While I rated myself for this service tonight, apparently there was a shooting in Jerusalem
At a synagogue.
at a synagogue, and there's maybe
We
six,
believe 7.
seven victims. So the hatred just doesn't stop. All right, so if it is your custom to rise, please join me in the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish, and if you, we were also thinking about the 6 million and the others who have died during the Holocaust on this evening. Yitkada v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah v'yalma tivrach yirutei v'yamlik malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayed kol beit Yisrael v'agala v'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivorach leolam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yithaar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudisha b'reichu. Le'ela mimko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. V'al kol yoshvei tevel. You may be seated. Thank you, everyone. It's really a very meaningful evening. And we just have a few more things.
Shabbat Shalom. No jokes tonight. Sometimes we come to services for comfort. Sometimes we come to services because they're particularly meaningful that night. And this is one of those nights. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Jay. I've heard your composition many times before. It's the first time I've heard it by you. And there are no words. There are no words. Thank you for sharing your talents with us. Thank you for sharing yours with us. And I'm reminded of what Rabbi Alex says when we do Yortzeit. We say Yortzeit every week for people who don't have anyone to say Yortzeit for them. And their memories are in here with us. And tonight, on top of the people on our list and the victims today in Jerusalem, there are 6 million names within us. And we're keeping their memories alive tonight. Meaningful, very meaningful service tonight. I'm glad you guys were here for it. Thank you also to Ronnie for sharing your thoughts tonight. Also very powerful and very meaningful as well. And of course, thank you to Cantor for coordinating all of this and leading us in music tonight as well. Thank you again for your patience as we continue to have our services down here. We're working on the painting in the social hall. In the social hall, we'll be back in the sanctuary fairly soon. Last week we talked about we should come up with a name for this room. And I was thinking, as I look around at all of the names who are on our Yortzeit list, the people who have gone before us and built Temple Sinai and built Temple Beth Am and created what led to Congregation Shir Shalom, I said to Joanne, maybe we should call this our heritage room. That might be a name for it, because our heritage of both temples is on these walls tonight, and it's a night for remembering, and it kind of feels that way as well. If you have Yortzeit, please, you could stop into the sanctuary when you come to services. The lights, the memorial lights are lit. Tomorrow morning we have Torah study virtually at 9 a.m., the Shabbat morning service at 10:45 at Temple Beth Zedek. The website has the link. We're going to have Purim Spiel rehearsals this weekend. We still have room for people to join the cast. We have parts. Talk to the cantor. Community Religious School is this Sunday. Parents are welcome to stop by for coffee and visiting. Let's see. The painting in the social hall is getting finished. So pickleball will resume beginning of next month, which is next week. So that's coming back soon. Big event coming up. The Purim Spiel, by the way, is March 6th. Please join us for that. It is a Beach Boys Spiel. So there's a lot of fun for that night. We have a Winterfest coming up Saturday, March 25th. A big get-together. It's always nice when we can get together for a joyous occasion, and that's what that will be. That's March 25th. Talk to Joanne or myself afterward if you need to know any more about it. I forgot to mention one thing. Walter and Diane sponsored the Onig this evening in memory of Walter's father, Tom Gordon. This is his first Yortzeit this year. So thank you for honoring him tonight and letting us honor him with food, which is, as Ronnie said, that's the Jewish way. That is, he was into food. That is the Jewish way. If you need anything, talk to Joanne, Cantor, Rabbi. Let him recover. Myself or Todd. We are always here for you. And tonight's nights like tonight, it makes it more meaningful to be part of this really amazing Shir Shalom family. So Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. All right, let's turn to page 653 for Eli, Eli. Very familiar tune. Everybody can sing along, please. It'll be Jay and I will be leading it. We'll be doing it in Hebrew and in English. What's the matter?
No, you said we will be doing it in Hebrew. I said you will.
Oh, no. You don't want to come over by mic?
Sure.
It might be very hot, I don't know. Why don't you say something just so I make sure that it's...
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That sounds good. All right, so page 653. And we'll all sing along on the bottom. Eli, Eli.
Sure.
didn't forget Motzi. Who's coming up to say Motzi? Jay?
Excuse me?
Jay. You just hold up the bread for us.
Oh, sure.
That way he can have a collar.
So,
Just take it, take it. Just fly. I actually ruined,
oh, God, yeah,
no, I ruined a beautiful sweater of mine with a Hanukkah candle.
Oh, no.
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. It's yours.
That's yours. It's mine.
Yeah. Tomorrow you'll make French toast. Are you good at everything?
No, don't worry about that. No.
French toast.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's beautiful. Thank you. All right.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. May we go from strength to strength.
Prayer books back over here with the leaflets out.
I was really hopeful. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Did you have medical background at all? There you go. Yeah, so it was perfect blend for you. Because you probably watched it or assisted a few times. No, you do it now, but I mean before.
I mean, whatever, maybe if I was on call.
The way the calendar worked out, right? You know.
Where'd you work? Oh, here though. You weren't Buffalo. Yeah.
All over. For my dad's side, but my grandfather in the capital city.
Maybe we'll be seeing each other once a year now, at least.
Well, it's probably going to work out, yeah. So I always feel guilty once in a while we're away or do something, and I feel guilty when I don't.
I got you it, and
We're actually driving away tomorrow to head down to the Keys. So it was just by the luck of one day that we were able to make it.
Yeah, just vacation.
Yeah, that's all.
I've been here one night.
We're taking the dog. That's why we're driving.
We're here.
4 days down, 3 weeks in the Keys, and then we'll make our ways back.
So you obviously found a place that's dog friendly.
We've never been there before, but yes,
Yeah.
it says they take a dog. So.
You're not going to go in one shot.
Oh no, 4 days down.
Oh yeah,
4 days down.
No.
Yeah, no.
Why
So those are all dog friendly too.
Well, 2 of them are my sisters.
You talked to the right
And then in
people.
between,
Thank you so much.
right, they have no choice. And then in between, we found a motel that is.
Hey, young lady.
How are you guys? It's so
are
good to
you?
see you.
Nice
What
to
a
see
treat.
you too. Yeah, a little strange, but there was another name on the York side list which surprised me a little bit. It was a very good friend of my dad's, but I don't think he ever belonged to either of these two temples.
Maybe he was related to somebody who
Well,
did.
either that or maybe it's somebody with the same name.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
So, although, you know what? They, the Yorkside list has her mother and her father, and